There's 52 Sundays of learning about faith, and God gave us His Word all year long. So the daily challenge of our faith journey is finding the ways to trust His plan. Here's how: believing in Jesus for our salvation, trusting in God's Word every day, relying on the Spirit for His guidance. God's perfection shows the way. Science can be helpful, but it is made by men, and people sometimes get things wrong. From the shape of the earth to how our bodies work, but God's wisdom is so strong. As you can see, there's a whole lot of stuff to learn about God and His Word. So stick with God, 'cause He never breaks His promises to us. So stick with God, 'cause we will always stand firm in His unfailing love. Mom, Faith and Physics are doing a science experiment.
Hi, Professor.
Dr. Giggles, this year has just started and we're already making plans. Did you know God has amazing plans for us too?
Wow. Plans for even me with all my messiness?
Absolutely. Jeremiah tells us that God has great plans for us. It's big, it's beautiful, just like a map. Even if we don't know what's in store for us, God already knows.
Wow, I usually run around in circles.
Today we're gonna need a plain piece of paper, a crayon, and we're gonna write a message on it. Then we're gonna have water, a paintbrush, and some watercolors. I feel like an artist doing this.
Wow. I can see it. I can see God's plan.
Just like God knows what His plan is for us, sometimes it takes time to reveal, to become clear. I think it's time for a video. So, let's watch a video.
Hey kids, have you ever made a promise to someone? Like, you promised your friend that you would play with them at recess? Or maybe you promised your sibling that they could choose the next TV show.
Well, in today's lesson, we're going to learn about a time when the Israelites broke a promise to God. Jeremiah was a prophet that warned people not to break their promises.
God had chosen this job for Jeremiah way before he was even born.
And Jeremiah was a prophet during the time when people had broken a promise to God.
They promised to only worship him, but then they started to worship the fake gods.
So Jeremiah warned them that if they kept doing that, God would punish them. He would send a big army to take over their land.
The people broke their promises and ended up paying for it. Well, the people kept worshiping the false gods, and everything Jeremiah warned about became true.
An army from Babylon destroyed Israel and took the people captive.
The Israelites knew what would happen, but just kept doing the wrong thing.
Even though the Israelites messed up, God had hope for them. The Israelites had made a big mistake, but God didn't give up on them.
Jeremiah also told the people that God still had a plan for them, and that plan was to give them a good future.
He promised the people that one day they would be able to return to their land and no longer live in captivity. God keeps His promises even when people don't.
Eventually, God's people were free from Babylon and got to return back home.
Even though God's people had turned their back on Him, He was still willing to keep His promise. Memory verse: if you look for me wholeheartedly, you will find me.
When Israel turned away from God, bad things had happened, but God was always with them.
He just wanted to realize how much they needed Him.
Even when they did things that made God sad, He still kept His promise to them.
So kids, next time you make a promise to play with your friends at recess, think of this lesson.
And remember, God will always keep His promises to us.
God's plans are good, and we can trust them. Just like a map, He mapped out His plans for us, and it's good. See you next time, scientists. Bye!